1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let's go.
Top 5. Top 5. Top 5. Top 5.
All right, so it's Top 5 Podcast. All right. It's kind of funny, man. So I was thinking, like, yesterday and today about how much our lives have crossed. All right. Now, obviously, I can't brag like I knew you before you was, I met you when you first got to Carolina. So you was already a superstar, guaranteed NBA pick and all that. So I can't front like I was back in the Philly days. But I saw your growth from the time you got here, right? So I've been on the radio 23 years. We've done a lot of different things, went out to eat. We're going to get into my basketball camp. I don't know if you remember. You did my basketball camp.
Many moons ago.
Ago. We've done a lot of things. Know your family real well, but I've never interviewed you.
Fact.
So when I was doing my wish list and we put this podcast together, I was like, I got to get Rasheed, man. So first phone call, you jumped on, and I appreciate it, man.
Oh, all day, man. You my guy, man. Like you said, since day one I got down here, you've always been good to me, my family, always been polite, especially, with my Duke and everything. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's all respect and love.
Legend Rasheed Wallace. So 14 years, you did 14. How many years you played in the NBA?
In the league, 16.
16. All right, because you stopped, then you went back, right? So 16 years. So I mentioned it earlier, but just for the people who don't know, you are from?
Philly, born and raised.
So how in the hell did you become a Kansas City Chiefs fan? You know that's the first question.
Yeah, I knew
and,
that
and let me tell you
coming.
something. You're a true Kansas City Chiefs fan because since I've been knowing you've been liking the Kansas City Chiefs, so where'd that come from?
Well, growing up, everybody in the family was Eagles fans.
Right.
And in Philly, it was, when I was growing up, it was either you were Eagles fan, Cowboys, Giants, Redskins, or the Steelers.
Right.
So when I learned, actually the rules of football and who's who and what's what, I was like, all right, going through different conferences. I never liked the team. I've always liked individuals. So, I like the classic duo, Batman and Robin, Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
Right.
So when Montana got traded to Kansas City, nobody I knew was a Chiefs fan. Nobody in Philadelphia that I knew personally, friends and family, was a Chiefs fan.
Right.
I never seen any of their memorabilia, any damn weird, none of that, right? So my mom, just back when children's programs used to come on Sunday mornings. And so 12 o'clock, she's flipping to, the pregame shows and everything. Oh, and this week they got to worry about the sacks and da-da-da-da. And, I'm sitting there, I'm pouting. I don't want to watch this. You know what I'm saying? Because football wasn't my thing growing up. Track was. So my mom had the only TV in the house. So it was either watch this or go outside. Well, I couldn't go outside because it was wintertime. You know what I'm saying? Now I didn't really feel like now you got to put on the layers and everything and this and that. And hopefully to see if one of your homes could come out. So I didn't feel like doing all that. So I sat through a lot of that and always cheer for everybody else. So when Joe Montana came to Kansas City, I've been a fan since then. That's been 92.
So you say track. What did you do in track?
When I was younger, I just did pretty much track events. I did the 100, I did the 200, the 400, I did the 4x1. But when I got to high school, I did the 4x1, 4x2, the 200, the 400, high jump, long jump, and triple jump.
Now, some people have a growth spurt. So were you always the tallest kid, or you had a growth spurt?
It's crazy you say that. Kind of, sort of, bro. Kind of, sort of. My kindergarten through fourth grade, it was another kid in my neighborhood who I knew, my buddy Ryan. I can't remember his last name, but dark-skinned kid. And, we were pretty much back and forth. Like, when school started in September, I was taller. Then by the time Thanksgiving rolled around, he had me a little bit. So it was always us. And then after that, it was like, okay, cool. I was normal for a little bit, but then it was one summer.
What grade was that?
Wow, I want to say my 8th grade summer. My 8th grade going into 9th grade, I grew 6 inches.
Wow.
So I graduated 8th grade at 6'3", and I checked in, and that was in June.
At 6, so you 6'3" in the 8th? Mm-hmm. Wow.
I was 6'3" in the 8th grade.
Wow.
That was in June. Checked in school in September. I was 6'9".
Wow.
And that was a killer summer, bro. Everything I'm talking about, like the way the kids wear their pants now, with that, like, it's, for us old heads, that's like, man, you got on high waters. That's how all my pants were, all my sweats were that summer. Everything. It was it was crazy, man. But hey, had to endure it.
So I got to ask you this before we get off the subject. Totally going back to the Chiefs, Super Bowl. Of course, they beat your hometown Eagles, and I saw online you got a lot of flack about that. And you had a lot of messages for the Eagles fan. But what did you think about the game? Do you think that call decided the game, or what's your
No,
thoughts
I
about
don't.
the game?
I don't think that one call decided the game,
Right.
Because you got to look back at it, and then plus being a ex-professional myself, that's going back to like things that I would say, like yo,
Right.
during the game, and we might have lost by like 1 or 2 points. Man, if I would have got that rebound, or
Right.
if I wouldn't have fouled them right here, or if I would have made that shot, you can't really say that because there's too many possessions. And I think it's the same thing with football.
Right.
You want to throw the flag in the first 5 minutes of the game, you got to throw it in the last 5 minutes of the game.
That's right.
Now, was it a weak hold? To me, kind of, sorta. I ain't going front, but it still diverted him from at least making that attempt to get that pass. It was just enough.
Just enough, right?
Yeah.
Did you go to the game?
No, I didn't go to the game.
Oh.
I was actually in a Lions Den watching the game.
Oh.
I went to Philly.
That's what I thought. Yeah, you went to Philly because okay.
Yeah,
So how was that? Like you went to a sports bar or you watched it at home?
No, I watched it at my cousin's crib.
Okay,
It was all family and friends around, so that made it even better.
Right. So many things I want to get into, man. I'm gonna try to keep this interview real short and tight and
good
to the
money.
point. But one thing I just always wanted to say this publicly to you. So I've been able to interview and interact with a lot of celebrities, being on the radio for a long time, and people often ask me like down to earth celebrities, or like they'll ask me different questions about different celebrities. But I got to tell you this, bro. I have never met a celebrity like you. Like when I'm telling you, you have never, since I've known you, showed an ounce of your popularity. Like, it's weird, but I know where it came from because I knew your mother. You know what I'm saying? But I just always want to give you that compliment, man,
Appreciate
because
that.
like you was a rock star at Carolina. You dominated the league. I mean, you just never have changed from one moment, man. Shout out like who you accredit that to. I know, but talk about some of the people that grounded you, that shaped you to be who you are.
Oh man, definitely my mom first and foremost. And I gotta say both my brothers, Malcolm and Muhammad.
Right.
Because they were kind of opposites. They were always opposites as far as one in trouble, one out of trouble, or whatever the case may be throughout their childhood. Then I got to credit my uncle passed away, my Uncle Lefty, because he was no nonsense. He was a police officer. So he was the law in the family. I think he was a sergeant or lieutenant, one of the two. I can't remember. But then it's my high school coach, Bill Ellerby. He was a Marine drill sergeant. So he cussing here and there, and it was strict discipline. And it wasn't the fact of him doing so much yelling, because he didn't really have to yell like that. It was the things that he said and the punishments that made that discipline justified.
Right.
So, and then I guess just, coming up where I was from, never was the one to have all the name brand stuff or the fancy clothes. I wore hand-me-downs and all of that. So I never was one to sit there, and when the Most High did bless me, I never was one to flaunt that in anybody's face, because just as fast as he blessed me with it, he could take it all away, in the blink of an eye overnight. We've seen it happen with many athletes. So I mean, just I don't see myself no better than nobody else.
Right.
I wash my own dishes, I cook my own food. I have help cleaning my house, go to the market by myself, shop for what I want to shop for. So I'm just the everyday person is how I see it.
I
bro.
mean, bro, it's something special, something different. I hope you don't think I'm just saying this because you're on my podcast. Like, because I remember even when you came down to my camp out of out of college, you didn't just come in and just speak and then leave. You stayed for days. Like, you was working with the kids. We hung out at a regular hotel. Like, this was like right before you joined at the time where they were the Bullets then, right?
Yep, they were the Bullets then.
And I don't even think you have really got fully introduced into D.C. yet.
Nope, because I only spent that. That was me. Because I only spent that. I only spent that 1 year in D.C.
Right.
My rookie season.
That's right.
And then after that, I was expendable.
Right.
And I got traded to Portland, and I was in Portland for 7 years.
Right.
Then went to Detroit played in Detroit for 6. Then went to Boston for 1. Retired. Went to New York for 1. Retired again. And I ended up coaching I think it's either 2014-15 or the 2015-16. I think it was 2014-15 season of with Detroit.
Right. Okay, hold on. Let's go back to the Bullets. You get to the Bullets and you playing with Juwan Howard. I got Chris Webber.
Yep.
I remember, I think I went to your first game or something. Shout out to Joe. Was it Joe Thunder?
Yep, Joe Thunder, my cousin.
Yeah, because Joe went with you. Like, he was kind of...
Yeah, he was my manager.
Right.
Or he was everything, actually. My brother, my manager, my blood cousin, but my brother, my manager, you know, my friend. You know, he was my companion, and I needed that.
Yeah, he kept you straight.
He helped keep me straight and everything. You know, no wild stuff. So I needed that, though. I
remember going to the game. I remember you getting drafted. I was like, man, she going to get lost. Because both, at the time, Juwan and Chris were just off the chain. But how was that learning experience, getting a chance to play with two really, really good, like, people kind of at your position?
Oh, man, it was awesome. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. Because at the time, they were still riding on their wave of fame, you know. They were the Fab Five, you know, the bad boys of college basketball.
Right.
And now here it is. I think it was the year before. Chris had just got traded to Washington.
Right.
And then my rookie season, playing with him and Juwan and another big fella of mine, Bob McCann, Big George Murison. I'm learning a lot from these guys. Jim McIlvain. So they all NBA veterans. You know, this is my first year. So I'm, you know, pulling and picking out of their brains from time to time throughout that season. And, you know, I didn't want to go. I think we had a hell of a team. You know, we had a hell of a squad there. Right. Calbert Chaney was the 2 guard.
That's right.
Mitchell Butler. I played with Mark Price.
Yeah, Mark Price was there.
Brent Price.
Right. Him and his brother was on the same team?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Robert Pack. Liddell Eccles. Tim Legler. And who else? Did I say Mitchell Butler?
Okay.
I think Mitchell Butler.
From
UCLA.
And I met Mark Price when he was in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
I was interning for the Cavs. And people don't know how dope Mark Price was.
Like, oh, man.
Like, people be sleeping on Mark. Because I want to come back to Carolina. So you go to Portland. And that's when, where do you think, what team between Portland and Detroit most people you think know you from? Because you had some epic years at Portland.
It depends on where you at.
Right.
If West Coast or
That's right.
East Coast.
That's right. Right.
So it definitely depends on where you at.
Welcome to the NBA moment. I know that's one question you get all the time. What was the moment where you was like, okay, I'm in the league now? Whether it was something you did good or bad, just something that made you realize I'm in the NBA now.
Hey, it never gets old, and I'm never ashamed to tell the story. So, you know, my rookie season, going back and forth in training camp with Webb and Juwan and George, you know, that was cool, that was good, that was dope. I was learning a lot. So here it is, boom. Preseason, our first game, we fly down to Mexico City. Who do we play? The San Antonio Spurs.
Ooh, Spurs good at this time?
Huh?
That's the Tim Duncan Spurs?
No, not
That's Dave
Tim Duncan wasn't there. Yeah,
okay.
D-Rob, and that's when D-Rob had the pump up shoes.
Yeah.
Oh man, hey dog. So I'm like, all right, damn. I was just watching this dude a couple months ago in the playoffs. I know he left-handed. I know he got a jump hook. I know he could shoot the J, and I know he run the floor. Now, I already knew this going into it, and it's just from watching him. But it's a different feeling when you watching and when you out there. Man, let me tell you, in 30 minutes, dude bust my chops. He had 30 points. He had about 12 rebounds, and he had about maybe six or seven blocks. That was my assignment.
Right.
So I failed that assignment. And then we played another game 2 days later, San Antonio again. Now, he still bust my chops, but it wasn't as easy this time.
Right.
You know, I kind of sort of figured out things he was going to do and tried to make him do what I wanted him to do on defense.
All right. So what would you say between Portland and Detroit, I mean, obviously because you won chips, obviously, with Detroit, but what was, like, the most fun between the two cities that you had?
Man, to be honest, both.
Really?
Yes, and I say that because it was two different moments in my life. In Portland, my first 7 years, shit, I was gung ho.
Right.
You know, I was wild, going out every night on the
Right.
road, damn near. You know, strip
And was
club,
the team
regular
close?
club.
Was it a good unit to play with?
It was all of us going out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, we were always at least 5 or 6 deep on both teams that I played on. That's one thing that I am thankful for. Every team I played on in the NBA,
Right.
we had that brotherhood. We had that unity.
Right.
Everywhere we went, nobody really, unless you really wanted to, but nobody really went out by themselves to eat, you know, to go to the club or whatever. And that's how it was in Portland. And I was learning also from Clifford Robinson,
Yes.
Uncle Cliffy,
Yeah.
rest his peace.
He was dope.
And learning from him on and off the court and different things. And so, you know, I was wild, but I'm glad that I had him because he helped calm me and my guy, Gary Trent Sr., that he helped calm us down.
Right.
And, you know, we was young boys. We was like, oh, man, we young, athletic, thinking we invincible, tearing stuff up. Hey, yo, when I was in Detroit, it was more mature Sheed.
Right.
You know, now granted, when I was in Portland, yeah, I was married, but I was wilding, and I know I was.
At the time, right.
So when I got to Detroit, you know, it was more mature. She calmed down, didn't go out as much, did a lot more family and unity things with the other guys on the team. It's like I had the New Year's parties. Rip had the Halloween party. Chauncey did the fights or like the big fights or the big concerts, you know, back on the pay-per-views.
Right.
Ben did the barbecues in the summer. And what did Tay do? Oh, Tay did like the Super Bowl and, you know what I'm saying, the big sporting event game, the finals,
Right.
stuff like that. So we was always around each other throughout the year.
Right.
Nobody really left
And you
Detroit.
could tell on the court, man, y'all were. So where did the championship belt come from? Like, what
Just wanting to be different.
Right.
Just wanting to be different. Like when we were in high school, I was fortunate enough to win a couple city championships and a couple of nationals. So it's like, you know, man, we so tired of getting that BS ring, so that's when we tried to freak out the little varsity jackets, and then it was like, all right, next level. And you seeing the NBA guys, you know, the rings get bigger and bigger each year, so I'm like, all right, I gotta be different. Think of something different.
Right.
And I was like, shit, we champs. Why not? I take a hell of a chance. Now, to be honest, I bought them belts game 3, after game 3, because it took about 2.5 weeks for them to come. And man, so I was like, all right, bet. I had them, and I had them for that summer, and then I was like, bet, this is what we gonna do. We had our first game, our first home game, our ring ceremony night. I was like, yo, right before we went out, I was like, yo, I got something for y'all. Man, I asked the security dude to walk me to the car. We both went to the car so he could help me. Man, I brought back the box is like about this long.
Right.
So I'm carrying mine, he carrying his. I'm like, yo, hun, this for you. They're like, what's this? Everybody opened it. It was like, oh, yo. So when I got the names, everybody nicknames. And I was like, all right, bet. And went and got that thing, man, and came out with it. Oh, it was dope.
Crazy.
It was dope.
So who was your vet? Who taught you the rope? Like when you was like a rookie, like who was your vet that showed you the ropes?
When I first got to the league, it was Chris, and like I said, a cat named Bob McCann.
Okay, and name some of the players that you were a vet for.
Oh, wow. Bonzi Wells, Jermaine O'Neal, Zach Randolph, Quintel Woods. Who else?
You knew Zach was a beast when you first got your eyes on
him? I didn't know Zach was going to be as good as he was.
Right.
I knew he was good in college, just coming off a national championship with Michigan State. So I knew he had to, you know, he was good a little bit. But to actually watch him, you know, the first few days of practice, you know, Zach was messing everybody up because nobody really knew his game. Again, we saw it on TV, but it's different.
Right, lefty, right? He was a lefty.
Yeah, lefty, but he got a knack for rebounding.
Right.
So it's normal though. So like if we out here hooping, right, and boom, I put a shot up, and you're not looking at the shot. You're looking to see who you gonna block out to get in position while everybody else like this, watching the ball. Zach doing his dirty work. You gonna bang,
Fighting for
you
position.
Get here, yep. And that's what made. And then he putting it right back. He's not athletic. You ain't gonna see Zach do no 360 windmills, none of that. But he can dunk. You know what I'm saying, 1 and 2 hands. But a little quick off his feet, man. That kid got a knack for rebounding.
So you played easily in the golden era of forwards. Who was the one player you circle, you knew that night you had to bring your A game? Who was like that one player that was like the hardest to play against for you?
For me, I had 3.
Okay.
When the NBA schedules came out, I definitely marked them down. I definitely made sure that I got my rest the night before. And I didn't want to see them, for the most part, in the playoffs. And that was Antonio McDyess.
Okay. Whew, McDyess could fly.
KG.
No question.
And Tim Duncan.
Wow.
Them was the 3 that I always got up for. I really didn't have. It really wasn't too much that I could do with Mailman. Because damn, dude, bro's a scoring machine, and he's strong as hell. But those 3 guys we're all pretty much around the same age, same era. So, and athletic. Like Tim Duncan, he big fundamentals. He's the only one out of the 4 of us who wasn't like dumb athletic. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, everybody else was. Those are my 3 guys. So the 4 of us, it was like.
So a couple of different top 5 lists. So let me get into one off of this one. So top 5 NBA players. Okay, now, so we're not doing favorites, like who the top 5 NBA players, but what I'm going to do to switch it up for you, I'm going to give you my 5. You tell me what's wrong with my list and fix my list, okay?
Knock it out.
So we're not going to use Wilt because I'm older than you and I didn't see Wilt and I didn't see Bill Russell. So we're going to kind of, for the sake of this conversation, move them 2 out the way.
I'm with you. Knock it out.
Okay. So I got the undoubted GOAT, Michael Jordan, at 1. I think everybody else is a little, I don't even think it's close. So I got Michael Jordan. I got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar at 2, the captain. I got Kobe Bryant at 3. I struggled to get him at 3, but I think I got him at 3. At 4, I got the greatest leader in team sports, Magic. And at 5, because I'm not using the other 2 names that we had to move out, I'll put LeBron. Tell me what's wrong with my list.
There's other good players, and
Okay.
what are you basing that off of? That's the
Good
main
question.
thing.
Okay,
So are you basing that off of what? Popularity?
No.
Are you basing it off of what? Championships? Are you basing it off of who could play defense?
Right.
Who's the better scorer? It's a lot.
Great
that
question.
you're basing
Okay,
it
here
off
we
of.
go. We're having this basketball discussion.
Because now, think of the 5 you named.
Right.
So it's only maybe 1, no more than 2 categories that all 5 of them could be in.
Okay, so check it out. No, I'm going to answer your question directly. I'm going to bring all the categories mainly into 2. Eye test and accomplishments. So eye test would be dominance. Accomplishments would be stats and championships. Okay, so I'm going to break it into those 2 categories because there's some subcategories of those, but you had to, my eyes from what I saw, and I got to go and look at accomplishments. So, like, I think KD has a chance to be like a top 5, top 10 player, but he ain't got the accomplishment side, but from a skill standpoint. So that's where I got that list from. So who needs to come out my list, and who would you add, or would you rock with my list?
For me, I don't have a top 5, and I say that because it's so many different categories. Now
Right.
I can go top 5 bigs,
Right.
top 5 shooting guards. Like everybody want to put Mike as the GOAT, but Mike is only number 1 in 1 category in the league.
Which, okay.
He's undefeated in the finals.
Right.
That's the only category he's number 1 in.
Okay.
He's not number 1 in points. He's
Right.
not number 1 in steals. He's not number 1 in rebounds, assists, none of that.
Okay.
So there again, you're talking accomplishments. Yes, he has the personal accolades as far as the MVPs, the All-Star Game MVPs, the Finals Game MVPs, the regular season MVPs, and scoring titles, and he has those personal accolades like that. Yeah, but for me, I look at more of a team thing.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
you when you say team, you talking about championships?
no, team. Like that team player, just because
Okay.
if you want to go chips, that now you're talking a whole different category.
Right,
because in yours, I would take out Brian and put in Big Shot Bob.
Right.
Robert Horry got 7.
So that's why we can't, because eye test. Right. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. You
You know
got to
what I'm
have
saying? So-
played at a certain level and won. So I think that start weeding certain people out. So okay, who you gonna take out and who you gonna put in my in my list?
I don't know. I mean, you had a pretty good list. You had Magic, you had Mike, you had Bron, you had Kareem, and who was your fifth?
Kobe.
Kobe.
You count Kobe? Yeah.
So for me right now, I would take Bron out for the simple fact he's not done.
Okay.
So I can't. Yeah, he has the accolades too, but again, he's not done. So I can't put him in that category yet.
All right.
Because mainly when you think about like the top fives or some of the greatest players to play, you're thinking about more of our history.
Right.
But he's still playing, so that's why.
I got you.
And I'm not disrespecting
So give me somebody.
him or
Give me somebody else that you.
I mean, like I said, you can go with if you're talking about the accolades. Robert Horry got 7 championships. You can go with him. You can go with John Sally, got 7 championships.
Right.
I mean, that's why I said, what are we basing it off of? And you said the eye test. So, I mean, that makes it kind of hard because now for me, I might be naming cats that I know and played against.
Right.
That could be in my top 5. Now, again, are they top 5 guards?
Right.
I played with a lot of guards.
Well, I'm gonna hit you with the power forward question, but I mean, everybody's trying to define, and I like the way you're really breaking it down. I think for me, again, like, because you got all these advanced stats that I'm not really crazy about, but they do tell a story. But if you walk on the court and you can look out here, you're a coach now at this particular point, you say, okay, that's the best player on the floor. He might not have the most this, the most that, but you can pretty much pick out he's the most. And I also equate that to wins and you having an impact on winning, right? So that's where I think LeBron falls off a little bit. Because I don't really think he got the impact directly on winning. But anyway, so hold on. I do want to hit you with top 5 power forwards at your position, not named Rasheed Wallace.
For sure, I got to go mailman. This is my 5, people. This is my 5. This is me. So don't y'all have a baby over this. All right? And this is just something off the top of my head as I'm thinking real quick. In no particular order. So mailman. Big Fundamental, Tim Duncan, KG, go down the line. I'm trying to think of my decades.
Right. So from the top again, we got Mailman, KG, Tim Duncan. 3 obvious.
And for me, that I've seen and played against because he helped me out with my game, I'm gonna say Cliff Robinson. Cliff played a 3 and a 4.
Right. He was tough.
Man, Cliff, like a lot of people sit up here and think that I started all this 3-point shooting stuff as a big. It wasn't me though. I got it from Cliff Robinson and Derek Coleman. Because DC, a lot of people don't remember him at Syracuse. Yes. He was putting the 3s up. But Cliff gave me the advice one night, man. He gave me the key to it all. He was like, hey, he seen me sitting there in my locker. I had ice over my body everywhere. He was like, and after a game with the Lakers, and Sabonis got in foul trouble, so for a majority of the game, I had to guard Shaq. He's like, yo, you can't do that. You can't be banging with him down there on that block on offense and defense. He was like, you got to step outside a little bit. When you know he's on you, go pick and pop instead of pick and roll. Because when you rolling right into him, and he already outweigh you.
So when y'all played the Lakers, you had to check Shaq most of the time, right?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah, Sabonis, who's your center?
Sabonis is our center for the
Trailblazers.
Pretty much all my years there, except for the last one.
Right.
Him, Dale Davis. They were pretty much our main 2 centers that was on Shaq.
Right. So you gave me 4. Is one you're missing 1? I need one more. Give me one more before I let you.
Man, it's tough because I'm trying to think of the different decades, different teams. Boom, boom, boom.
Then you probably ain't gonna pick somebody that's playing now.
Oh, power forward, I would have to say my man, Rain Man. Sean Kemp.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Him and Gary Payton was a combo.
Ooh.
I loved it.
Man, I tried to emulate a lot of his dunks when I was in high school, my junior and senior year, because I was like, all right, Sean Kemp, he's 6'10". I'm 6'10". He jump out the building. I'm like, for a young boy, I could jump out the building. And at the time, he was a little bit older than me, but I was like, shoot, I could do a lot of the same dunks he could do. And, man, I tried to emulate all his dunks.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up McDice because a lot of people go YouTube
Man,
McDice, power dunking. I mean, when he was in
Man.
Denver, oh my God, he was.
hey,
Yeah,
this cat Dice had damn near 50-inch vertical, man. Like that kid. So quick Antonio McDice story. We're in practice at the Magic Johnson game in Detroit when the Palace first opened. One of the years the first opened, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're in practice, and guy puts a shot up, boom. So now I'm jumping. It's myself, Gerald Honeycutt. We both fighting each other, and we both young boys jump pretty high. And then out of nowhere, all I see is a dark shadow come over both of us, grab the ball, and dunk on both of us. So I'm like this, and he on my team in practice. So he dunking on me. I'm like, damn. I'm like, yo. That's when I first yo, who is this kid?
Right.
And ever since high school, all throughout college, I hate that I didn't get a chance to play against him in college though. But yeah, got to the league, man. I'm like, man, and he could shoot, and he could run. I'm like, bro, he's a problem.
yeah.
He's a problem.
I got to ask you this: being from Philly, Kobe Bryant. A lot of people don't really know Kobe actually.
Crazy
from Philly
8, rest in peace.
Right. Give me a cool Kobe Bryant story, man. Like, I'm sure y'all had some moments.
Man,
you got a chance to
give you
beat
a
him
good one.
after you lost to him in Portland so many times.
Mm-hmm.
Got a chance to basically break up the Lakers when you was with Detroit, right? They broke up a little bit after what you did to him. Give me a cool Kobe Bryant
It
story.
ain't even got nothing to do with basketball. So the year that the All-Star game was out in Vegas, I can't
there,
remember the
but
particular
I went.
year.
I was
So
there.
this, we both Nike, and it just so happened
That's
that
right.
our guy who's the GM of the Mavs now, he was our Nike rep.
Okay,
So
right.
Nike had a party at Tao, and boom, at the time I was married and Kobe was married, so we was sitting in the booth and nobody was around us or nothing, and we was just enjoying ourselves, bro, talking about life. Ain't nobody even say nothing about basketball.
Really?
We just talking about life. And granted, yeah, our teams were rivals, but it was just the fact that I knew his family already before I came into the league. I know his pop, his mom, his sisters, all of that stuff from, being down at the Sunny Hill League, even though
Right.
I'm a couple years older than him,
Right.
but still playing throughout that league. And then, man, we just sitting there talking about life, bro. Talking about the kids, talking about vacation, like where you been, and how's this person? Have you seen this person in Philly? We just talked the whole night, having some drinks, man. It was awesome, man. And like I said, it didn't even have nothing to do with basketball, but I think that's for me. That's what made it actually great because there wasn't no trash talking, like, oh man, I bust y'all ass and this and that. Nah, it was
Right.
like, man, how your mom?
Right.
Like, oh man, my mom good, man. How your mom and dad? Da 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 da.
Right.
This and that. So it was love, man.
Yeah. One more basketball question. Then I want to take you to college, a little music, and then I'll let you out here. So, how was it to win back-to-back championships, man? How did that feel? Like knowing you're an NBA champion.
No, we only won one,
Okay.
the first one, but we went back. We lost the second time to try to repeat.
Oh, so y'all
we
didn't go
lost.
back-to-back. Y'all
Yeah.
won 2 out of 3 years.
No, I only won one.
One. Okay.
Yeah, I won one title, one NBA title. That was 04 with the Pistons.
Okay.
Now we went back to the finals in 05, but we lost to San Antonio in 7.
Oh, I thought you won. I don't know why I thought y'all went back-to-back.
We went to the finals back to back,
but you won
yes,
one.
But I only won one.
Right.
Yeah.
How was that feeling being an NBA
Oh
champion?
man, it was awesome. Top of the mountain.
Right.
When you feel as though you're that maven of your craft, and man, it was like at the time we got a little saying for ourselves and around that whole little Detroit Midwest area. The best 5 alive, because that's actually how we felt.
Man, y'all was tough.
We was
man.
like, we can't no 5 on this earth beat us.
Right.
And that's the swag that we roll with.
I mean, you and Wallace put something on, Shaq. It was like throwing the shot out the gym. It was crazy.
Man, hey, let me tell you this. If Ben wasn't who he was, I don't think we would have won.
Right.
Because man, he took that as a personal challenge. No, don't come double. We like, all right, bet.
Okay.
'Cause that made it easy for me.
So who was you checking mostly in that?
It started out with Mailman, but I think he had ended up with like a knee or back problems, and
Right.
then they just started switching out with
Yeah, because they had Gary
different
Payton that
forwards.
year too, right?
They had GP,
that's right.
Mailman, who else was on that team? They had the kid Medvedenko. So they were switching forwards out at that time. So it allowed me to roam.
Right.
But no, I didn't go nowhere near Shaq because I knew Ben had him.
If you wasn't playing basketball, like, what would you be doing? Like, I mean, if you never touched the basketball and you was
That's easy.
what?
Track and field.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's easy. That's my first love.
Right.
I didn't have to learn how to do that.
It was natural.
It was natural. I had to learn how to play basketball. Everything with basketball I've done, I had to learn how to do it. Shoot a
Right.
jump shot, foul shots, learn different dunks, defensive schemes, offensive schemes, different little situations. I had to learn all that.
Right.
But with track, it's natural. You got that's more self-learning because now it's all on me. It's only me out there. It's all on me.
So, all right. So, if you wouldn't have went to Carolina, what other school? What was second on your list? That's a good way to- What was the second choice you had?
Let me see. I only had 4. Mine was Villanova, Temple, Georgetown, and Carolina.
Gotcha.
So I think if in my head, my first decision, for the most part, was going to be Georgetown. But they were missing a point guard.
At the time, right?
Mm-hmm. And the thing that deterred me from Temple
Right.
was...
It was home?
no, not necessarily it was home, but was the 6 a.m. practices.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew I wasn't mature enough to
Right.
make sure that I got rest and all that stuff because I was home.
Right.
And I didn't have to check in with my mom or nothing like that. Yeah, it would have been crazy.
So what sold you on Carolina? What was the moment when you knew you coming to Chapel Hill?
Man, I think coming down here was the atmosphere, man.
Yeah.
It was the atmosphere, and I think it was the time of the year that I came. It was nice and warm. It was quiet. It smelled different. The air smelled different. Things were a little bit more slow and relaxing. I was like, all right, because every other school I picked was in the city. Georgetown right there in the middle of D.C., and then Temple right there in the middle of North Philly.
Right.
Villanova's in Philly.
Now, did you and Jerry and Jeff team up together and all decide y'all was coming, or it was kind of more of an individual and y'all just...
That was actually funny because we all talked about it during, what was it? I want to say the McDonald's game.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was the McDonald's game. We all sitting in the room, just us 3, man, and they're like, man, what you gonna do? This and that. I'm like, man, I don't know yet. And then we just talked it over with my mom, and decided like, all right, I'll come down there because that's where I was more comfortable with it.
Right, right. So I think I met your mother before I met you because I remember you coming because I used to be around the daycare. So that's I think my first interaction with your mom, and I was excited to meet you. So here's one of my funny Rasheed stories. So I go in Willing, and for people who don't know, Willing is like, explain Willing to people because people don't know Willing.
Intramural gym at Carolina.
And it's about how many courts in Willing?
Probably like 8 courts, I think.
Yeah, it's probably even more than that, like full court that way. Yeah, about 8 to 10, 12 courts, right? So that's like pickup heaven. Everybody's playing. So normally the first set of rows are like all the Carolina players, the top level players are all playing, right? And I'm just thinking all the Carolina who's who at there. I walk in, and you got all the players, stack everybody. Way at the other end, Rasheed is down there playing pickup with a couple guys from Intramural. It was a couple girls on the girls' team. I think you was playing left-handed. You just playing. But the reason I tell the story, because it describes you. Like, you was never into the pomp and circumstance. I mean, y'all was rock stars on campus. People always knew where y'all was. Rasheed was over here. Jerry was over here. And everybody going at it, and you down there shooting left-handed, playing with, like, the people to me. Like, you were with the people. Everybody else was where they be. You know what I'm saying? But that's just, to me, always been how you are. And you were shooting left-hand shots, and I don't know if you remember, you'll play pickup and shoot left-hand the whole game. And I don't know where this story come from about you shooting, because to me, you could shoot when you was in college. I don't think it...
But I never had to, though.
Right.
Because I played with good shooters. I played with Stack, Jeff,
right.
Donald Williams, Dante Calabria. You know what I'm saying? I always played with good shooters when I was down here. So it was never no reason for me to step nowhere off of the blocks.
So I got to hit you with this. Now, I'm going to underline the word favorite. Your favorite 5 Tar Heels. You can't obviously say yourself. Your favorite, not the best, but who are your favorite 5 Tar Heels. And then I'll critique your list.
My favorite 5, I gotta say, my guy Maktar and Jai.
Ooh.
Thinking out of this.
And I'm talking about past and present. It gotta be who you play with in your time. Like,
oh yeah, no. I'm gonna get there. Maktar would be one. Of course, Stack. I don't know if I could really count Stack and Jeff. Of course, we always stayed in touch and we always was cool or whatever. But if you want to, I will put them on my list too. Donald Williams.
okay.
And my guy who I think, and I will put money on it up against anybody. I think the best player to ever play in Carolina, Phil Ford.
Oh yeah.
That's my guy right there.
Right.
That's
Phil
my
was a part of your
5
recruiting
favorites.
process, right?
Yes.
Phil helped lock you in, I heard.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
did. But and I'm glad because you know why? I never heard of Coach Ford before I came down here. I never heard of a lot of guys before I came down here. Because up in Philly, it's Big East for us. So we got Georgetown, Villanova,
Right.
Temple. We got that whole crew. But down here, it was like, the rivals as well. Duke, Carolina, then you throwing Clemson in there, Wake Forest, State, all of that. So
Right.
I never really saw it. And so when I came down here, it was film.
Right.
Carolina over there.
So
we was
you didn't
watching
really
film.
get a chance to see Jimmy Black.
No, I did.
Okay.
I did. No, watching film.
Okay, film.
Like
But-
they got all the Carolina games of the past players
Right.
on film. So we could pick and choose who we watch. But my thing was always Coach Ford.
Right.
And just watching, I was like, man, the 4 corners, ain't nothing you could do with it.
Right.
Man, he was so fast. He athletic. He had that jump
Yeah,
shot
he ran the show, man.
on both sides of the ball.
Right.
He played both sides of the ball.
Right.
Like, man. And it's no knock against any other Carolina player.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because to me, we all the shit. We great anyway because we Carolina.
Right.
But, no, Coach Ford, to me, I think is the best player to ever come out of there.
Right. I got to put James Worthy on your list.
Big Game.
Big Game was like my favorite. The way he used to fly. Of course, I said Jimmy Black. I like Sam Perkins a lot too. He was like
Sam I am.
Yeah, Sam was great.
Big Smooth. I like Big Smooth.
All right, so what player in the NBA today is most like Rasheed Wallace? I already know who I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna hear who you. I think that's pretty easy. Like who acts?
I'm not sure
similar-
who roster he on, but I would probably say DeMarcus Cousins.
Okay, yes, okay, all right. Now, so but I don't think he's on the roster right now. Did he get picked up yet?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm not
'Cause,
sure.
NBA be playing crazy games like him, Carmelo. I don't know, but I give you that but you know who I was probably gonna say
Who?
Golden State.
Who?
Draymond.
Dre?
Yeah. Draymond, because Draymond to me tests the limit of what you can do and say, and I thought that's what you did. And I thought you used to use that to kind of psych you up. Now, hold on, wait, because now there's a rumor that the tech rule is the Rasheed Wallace rule.
For sure.
Okay, explain that to people who don't know.
So, back when I was playing, when I first started playing in the NBA, they didn't have a limit on technical fouls. And so you can get as many technical fouls. It was just, got to pay the fine.
Right.
So, David Stern got tired of it. The NBA came up with a rule. So, when you get your 16th technical foul, you get suspended. The 17th, it's a fine. The 18th is a heavier fine. Get to 20, it's another suspension.
Right.
And all of this, so forth and so on. So, yeah, for sure. And then they want to try to say that it wasn't my rule. But, yeah, we all know it was. That was especially a humorous joke between the players. like, damn, Sheed, you got your own rule, cuz. I'm like, yeah, I'm big time now.
Right. Yeah.
Just having fun with it, though.
I saw Chauncey talk about getting the referee to give you a tech. I saw one of those on YouTube the other day. That was hilarious. But it made you play with an edge, man, and you created a whole saying, so the ball don't lie. Where did that come from?
The streets of Philly.
Wow.
It wasn't nothing I came up with. So
Right.
I can't, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people think that I started, I can't take credit for it. It was just something that I heard on the streets of Philly, from my old heads that was playing on the playground.
Right. And that was basically saying if the guy missed the free throw after the bad call, is that what?
Anything.
Right.
The free throw after a bad call or You going to turn the ball over once you get the ball after a bad call or something like that, anything like that.
So did you really feel like refs were out there actively cheating?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people say even with the Portland, they didn't want to see a Portland, Indiana series.
They didn't.
Right.
They did not.
Okay.
They did not. But here's the thing. That's what it was about to be, but that was us. That Game 7 with L.A., I can't put that on nobody. That was
y'all was
us.
up, what, 13, 14 going into the fourth?
And we missed 13 straight shots. And I missed the majority of those shots. So I can't even put that part of it, again, on the referees like we were talking about earlier with the holding call.
Right.
You know, I admit, I missed probably about 8 of those 13 shots that we missed.
Right.
And I'm like, it just wasn't meant to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I had to actually swallow that pill one day. So
yeah, the referees do be tripping, but yeah, it's funny to watch you on the court, man. But it was just always something to see the way it seemed like it really fueled you to kind of.
It did.
Yeah.
Because my thing, it was no disrespect to any of the veterans or the all-stars that was in the league, right? You know, we know they work hard. Yeah, everybody want to see them. But, yo, especially my early years, I'm like, but, yo, us grunts, we working hard too now.
Right.
We got a couple people that want to come see us out here. You know, I got a couple people that want to come see me dunk and all this stuff. So,
Right.
you know, I just want a fair shake. That's all I ever wanted from them was a fair shake. You know, granted, yeah, that guy, he's out there making millions. Okay, I'm only making this and that. But somehow we both on the floor at the same time.
Right.
And I'm just as good as him. So, like,
And
what's
you got
the
a few
deal?
texts from just looking at refs.
Oh, man, everything. From looking at refs, I ain't even got to say nothing. I could be talking to my teammate. I
Right.
could be sitting here talking to you
Right.
about them.
Right. But you ain't talking to them.
I ain't talking to them,
Right.
to the coach, everything. It didn't matter to me, man. They was going to give me one anyway.
All right. So, all right, let me get a music question, and then we'll talk about what you're doing right now. I know you have into music, so you know I'm going to hit you with the age-old question. Top 5 rappers. Now, hold on. I'm not saying your favorite, okay? Like, again, so we looking at, you got to have a little body of work. So 1 or 2 albums. Let's go everybody with at least 4+ albums, okay?
You got to be a lyricist for me.
Little body of work. Give me your top 5 rappers. I'm anxious to hear this list right here.
For me,
Right.
I'm going to say Redman, KRS-One.
That's 2.
In no particular order. Redman, KRS-One, Black Thought. I like Kendrick Lamar. I like a lot of the things that he say. And right now, I'm gonna go with Cole, J.
Wow.
Cole. So like those, and I guess a runner-up would be Pusha T. So like those pretty much are the guys that I'm listening to right now, and you know that I always listen to for years because all of them got a lot of body of work. All of them got decades of work.
Right. So no Jay.
I'm
no
not a
Tupac.
big Jay fan, man. You know, it ain't nothing personal
Right.
against him, but you know, I'm just not riding that wave that everybody else ride on now. I like some of his music. I'm a huge fan of his first album.
Right.
That's the one I rock with all day over any other Jay album or any other Jay song.
Right.
That first album, Reasonable Doubt, that's it right there for me.
Right. You just threw my list away then because I had Jay at number 1.
Well, see, here's my thing. A lot of people like him now. A lot of people like him for
Longevity, probably.
more of that longevity, and that's all they played on the radio at that time.
That's
So
right.
with him, Rockefeller, yeah, Dame flooded that radio. You know, they everywhere, and you heard him on the radio,
That's
and
right.
it was like you were forced to like him. Like everybody would, they tried to force that Bruno Mars song on everybody. I can't remember the name of it, but they forced that on everybody. Like, yeah, you forcing it. Guess what? And then all of a sudden you hearing his name so much and this and that, doing a lot of things.
Right.
But I'm happy for him. You know, he's living a good life. You know, happy, all that. More power to him.
Okay, last major question. What are you doing now, She? Like, okay, so every time I turn around, so let me see. You're Jordan High School. Hold on. Let me try to rewind. So last time I think I officially saw you, you was at Jordan High School at a press conference.
Mm-hmm.
Right. My son was at Jordan at the time, just before he left to go to Cary. Academy. Then let me see. I heard Central, Memphis, Lakers, Louisiana. Right. Hold on. Let me try to rewind. So last time I think I officially saw you was at Jordan High School at a press conference. Right. My son was at Jordan at the time, just before he left to go to Cary. Academy. Then let me see. I heard Central, Memphis, Lakers, Where you at? What you doing, man?
You heard all of that stuff. I heard the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, I was at Jordan for 2 years. Charles Jordan down here in Durham.
Yeah.
After that, I went to Memphis, University of Memphis, for 1 year with Penny.
Okay.
And then after that, came home. No, I never coached with the Lakers. You know, that was all a big rumor and something that had got flipped up and out of the conversation. But it spread like wildfire, though. It would have been great, though. But right now, as of now, you know, I'm just enjoying life. Unfortunately, my mom passed, and with that now, I can actually try to do some things for me. You know, I go visit my daughter. My daughter's in college. So I try to go visit her.
What college she at?
She goes to school down in Miami.
Okay, gotcha.
And my son just moved to L.A. Well, my middle son just moved to L.A. My youngest son lives here. So it's more, I just try to spend a lot of time with my kids lately for the most part.
North Carolina's home?
Yeah, North Carolina's still home for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool, I guess, to be at your age, to have accomplished so much. Have a little security and kind of can decide what you really kind of want to do. You know, it seems like you're going to do anything you don't want to do, and that's what I always respect about you, man.
For sure. I'm not just going, you know, again, ride the bandwagon and do what everybody else is doing. No, I just want to stay in my lane. And no, it ain't about, trying to make 10, 20, 30 million on this or that deal. You know, if it happens, it happens. If not, it's not. You know, the Most High blessed me with the life that I have, so I'm not one to complain about the things he does for me.
Right, and you're a granddad now.
Yes.
I ain't quite there yet, but I got to give you some love on that. Because that's the maturation process. Some people not going to get there. And how does that feel?
Awesome, man.
Right.
Awesome. I have 3 granddaughters.
Right.
My oldest granddaughter is 9. My middle granddaughter is 5. And my youngest granddaughter is 1.5.
Right.
So, man, I'm loving it. I'm loving it, man. Just, you know, seeing them and watching another generation, you know, come up.
I got a video I'm going to release of me and you performing at the Run DMC concert a few years ago. I don't know if you remember, but it was off the chain. You remember we rapped everything. I had you on film, so I want to make sure I play that. Rashid, I appreciate you, man.
All day,
Always
man.
love,
you know
bro.
that, man. Love you, man. You know you're my big bro,
For
man.
sure, man.
Anything you need, I'm here.
Rasheed Wallace, Top 5 Podcast. That's a wrap. I kept on...
Flex up, all about a chick, all about a chick. Roll it, bust down, should've bought a bitch. All about a chick, all about a chick. Keep my hater blockers on, rock the top spit. Can't see you, chick. Please don't call my phone, it ain't about a chick. Can't hear you, chick. Los source, nigga, I wake up and flex.
I need a large amount. I'm taking on risk, I'm going